Welcome back to the class of resume building. To the very beginning, let us ponder over what does the term resume means. And there are two similar more terminologies. I would like to introduce you with the term biodata, and another one is curriculum vitae, and another one that we will be discussing here, resume. Let us try to identify what purpose they do serve separately. I would also like to focus on the point that no two synonyms are same in their meaning. Synonym means words of similar meaning, because it is not possible to get two words having exactly the same meaning. So here we are going to identify and focus on the points of view that how biodata is different from CV, how CV is different from resume, and vice versa. Talking about biodata. Biodata talks about the personal feature of a man or a person and his personal achievements. So biodata stands for the historical background of a man and his achievements. Biodata talks also about physical, biological features. Means in biodata it can serve the marital purpose, where height, figure, color will be separately mentioned. And biodata also can serve in industries, or even you can say for the receptionist job, where physical features are the part of the job. It can also serve for the air hostess job. It can serve for the job, its matrimonial purpose one, the personal life, and biodata can serve for the job of air hostess or flying stewards, and it also serves for the job of military. So far as male candidates are concerned, where height, chest and all that requirements are mandatory, then the biodata you are supposed to prepare. If you want to get a job in reception area, receptionist, if you want to get a job of air hostess or air flying steward, or if you want to get a job of in army or air force, where physical features are equally significant as so far as your qualification is concerned. So that way biodata stands for. Let us talk about how curriculum vitae is different from biodata. CV stands for short form. It has its plural also, curriculum vitae. And then curriculum vitae is the summary of professional experience and work. It is particularly prepared for teachers, professors and experienced professionals, having the details of the books written by them, the publication history of them, and at the same time their conference seminar attended and other extensive details of the experience. And sometimes some of the dictionaries, they do declare resume and CV as synonym. There is a very minor difference, but resume is a brief account. Resume stands for summary. And why we are going to discuss resume today and how it is different from CV, let us have a focus, let us have a talk on that. CV for experienced professionals. CV stands for those for persons who are involved in teaching profession, experienced professionals or university teachers. it requires all the details of their publication, patents and so many things. But resume is for freshers and upcoming professionals. And so far as resume is concerned, it talks about brief history or documentation of your academic achievements as well as your exposure of profession that you have. Let us talk about resume building further before clarifying all that. When we talk about resume, we can talk about the term also resume building. Why building resume? Let us talk about this term also. Why do we call about resume building? A building, we call any construction as a building, permanent residential construction, a building. Why do we call it a building if it is already built? If it is already built, why it is called building? Because it is a continuous process. It doesn't stop. You can get repair, make changes and makeover, and you can revise and revive and reconstruct so that it can always be up to date. That's why we have used the term resume building. You need to revise your resume multiple times, and that's why this symbolic term is applied here. Resume, constantly you need to update. Now, many a times it is called that kindly submit your updated resume with latest photographs. You please forward your CV for this post. Updated CV means you are revising it and you are incorporating your achievement, experience that you are getting, and you are obtaining the training and exposure in your life. That becomes the part of resume building. Let us focus on the three major segments of resume. Resume can be divided into three parts. We will be, for the suitability of understanding, resume will be divided into three parts. First part is front matter, second part is main body, and third part is back matter. So this way, we will be looking at the resume. When we talk about front matter includes your name, current address, cell number, email, objective of the resume, profile, academic qualifications, an area of expertise and specializations, project carried out. This is the main body here. Up to this email. Front matter consists of name, current address, cell number, email. And then there comes main body. And main body talks about objective, maybe career objective. It also talks about profile. It also talks about academic qualification, areas of expertise and specialization, project carried out, industrial visit and internship, conference, seminars attended, organized, both. And then later on, social work like maybe NCC, NSS, even in particularly in this area of India where we are staying in Haryana, blood donation matters a lot. Clear? So that can also be mentioned over here. And then awards and honors. If you have got somewhere first position in some competition and some other areas, so you will be projecting your awards and honors. Later on you should describe hobbies and interests, and then your sports participation, and even beyond that sometime your strengths and weaknesses. This constitutes the main body of the resume. Then there comes the back matter. Back matter is the back part of the resume is your personal details, your father name, your mother name, and then your date of birth, and even then your passport number if sometime you are applying for international job, and then all of personal nationality and so many things as it is required over there. and even after that, this after personal detail, you will mention references and permanent address. We have mentioned there current address on the top, permanent address just with the personal details and references. There it will be, and finally you will come to the declaration. That what is the declaration? It is your resume. You have constructed it, so you should be responsible for the same, and you must declare that the material incorporated, the information supplied, they are original, factual, truthful account of your saying, and you are confirming it, validating it, approving it, and in case anything gone wrong, you yourself will be held responsible for the same. And then their date, place and signature. Let us come to the real process of resume building now. Here we will be projecting on, like suppose that I am taking name of any person XYZ for resume preparation. So how we are going to work for it? Let us utilize the material that way. First point is name of the candidate. Let us say we are taking here someone as Ravi, and then the name is there.
Yes, sir.
Later on comes the current address, like maybe 10 and then Krishna Colony, and Bhiwani. Furthermore, after name, current address, then there comes contact number. Contact number may be 10 digit, like 9876 45321. Clear? But again, here I would like to suggest you to be professional in your approach. You must also supply an alternate contact number, backup number. Why is it so? Suppose that you are busy in some meeting, you are not having that much sufficient time, or you are not able to attend the phone. Somehow your phone is, your battery is dead, or somehow it is having some problem. So you must give the backup number. Backup number may be the number of your father, the number of your brother, the number of your of such person, so and so person who is responsible and caring for you, so that the person can provide you, supply you that information. So maybe backup number like so this is the way you are going to provide that backup number, and that will supply, that will solve that purpose. Then later comes the email ID. Email ID, normally we operate one, but while preparing professional email ID, it is also our responsibility that we should make a good name. It is not like that sometimes people prepare, you can say, bad sort of email ID. They adopt funny names like pagalravi@gmail.com. That should not be there. Somebody should be adopting that mail ID professionally. And then, like maybe many a times people make some dates and all that, but here we are taking very simple mail ID like engineer Ravi@gmail.com. This is simple, sober mail ID. You are going to plain mail ID. You should not go for preparing funny sort of mail ID. Earlier people used to do. But when in your childhood games you are preparing such mail IDs, after 10 years, after 20 years, it will cause a professional problem for you. You yourself will not like it. So start thinking big while preparing your mail ID. This much requirement is your front matter. Later on, we will proceed for the main body. In main body, I would like to discuss one very good thing that is kept discussed many a times, that objective. Many a time people write career objective. You need to write complete career objective. But what is your career objective? How can you draft it? Like many times people write like to join an organization and improve my work over there, and so that I can grow also and I can make the industry grow. Presently, it is not mandatory to write career objective. It is not mandatory, means without career objective also there can stand your resume. This is not a mandatory one. But there should be one more thing. If you are not drafting career objective, you should go for writing profile. Clear? Definitely there should be a clear profile heading, and in that profile, one line profile note. If you talk about profile note, what do you mean by profile note? Like BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering with specialization. Maybe you can talk about some specialization related to your field, and like, or even having extensive exposure and training in this area, like summer term, summer training you might have attended. So BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering with this, and if you are having some experience, so a BTech professional, engineering professional with a BTech degree and 5-year experience in this area, particular area. Maybe you may talk about digitalization or so many things, so many areas related to your field and radar or something like that, and then that will be your profile. So you can develop it like that. BTech in ECE, you will write completely Electronics and Communication Engineering with specialization in, let us say, radar, and training you can also mention. Later on we can talk about this academic qualification. There are qualification you can categorize into two parts: academic qualification as well as technical qualification. Here I would like to mention you some of the resume samples. Some of the resume samples talk about tabular form, academic qualifications mentioned in tabular form, and some other talks about academic qualification mentioned in simple form, maybe degree or certification, name of the institute, and furthermore passing year and then pass percentage. That way you should mention. But this academic qualification for you will be like 12th and 10th, and degree, or you can say certification. Then name of the institute or school, and then board you can mention over there, that way. But what is your technical qualification? Your technical qualification will be BTech in that. So BTech details you will be mentioning here. You can again also opt for tabular form or general statement. I would suggest you here that you better put your technical qualification upper and then mention your academic qualification at the lower space, so that the interviewer can see your current details immediately as a spark, and he can take quick decision by seeing and by, you can say, screening your resume for that purpose. Later on, after academic qualification, area of expertise and specializations. What is specialization do you have, or what is your area of expertise? What are you very good at? Means where you can perform very, very well. That part you are supposed to mention over here. Then projects carried out. What projects you carried, and what was the outcome? Or even not only projects, here you can also mention patents, projects and patents. If you have any patents, you will be mentioning the same over here. Then industrial visits and internship. Here I would like to stress on this point that you must mention your industrial visits, and even if you have not done, you need to do. You go for industrial visit because there you will get exposure of practical environment, real environment of the industry, and you will know in which you will have an idea of the environment in which you are going to serve, in which you are going to extend your services. So if you have done it till date, it's well and good. If not, you must plan for industrial visits. Furthermore, conference and seminar organized and attended. How many conferences and seminars you have organized and attended? So this part you are advised to be very particular, and if you have not organized, you go and consult the person concerned and tell him, request him that we want to organize a seminar or we want to participate. And because until and unless you are doing all these things, only simple academic qualification or degree will not serve for cracking a good job and in the competitive environment, present day competitive environment. So later on, seminars attended and organized both. If you are having right now as an engineer, it is not accepted from you or expected from you only that you participate and follow. Sometimes you are lead from the front, organize, host and play the role in various profile, because after 4-5 years you are going to shift into the managerial job even, because by the time you will be senior with 10-year exposure, you may be having some administrative position. There you need to organize, you need to host. For that purpose, such exposures are really very, very significant. Then there is one thing even in industry known as corporate social responsibility, and how socially aware you are, how socially responsible you are. For that purpose, your social work experience matters. And whether you know about NCC or NSS, or then what is this NSS all about, what does it has to do with your professional career, you can think that. You can ask the question, sir, what the hell this is going to help me. But the clear answer is that NSS teaches you attitude of communication. What is you attitude in communication? The very, very slogan, the logo of NSS tells that not me, but you. Who is more important? You. You are more important. This is what you can learn. Not me, but you. So, you attitude, your professional attitude, giving significance to others, and even this attitude keeps you in the mindset of very good trained soft skilled person. Why? This will inculcate a soft skill inside you, and then your ego will be subsidized. You will be able to shake down your ego, and you will be able to be very cooperative person. At the same time, at the time of risk, at the time of adverse situation and reverse hour, you will be able to understand the problem of your subordinates, and you will try to help them out. and you will try to acquire human balance humanly. Means you will be attempting, by doing all this, you have such approach, such attitude. There is a very popular line by some Indian writer, Nissim Ezekiel, who said, human imbalance should be humanly acquired. If there is imbalance, you should try to manage it humanly. So that human nature is the gift of your social work. And later on, if we talk about awards and honors, during your academics, during your study, how many awards and how many honors you have achieved, that will be another part. And then hobbies and interests. Here I would like to talk about what sort of hobby you should mention and what sort of hobby you should refrain from. Many a times there comes a question, what are your hobbies, during your interviews, and you simply say listening music. You say watching television, seeing movie. All these are passive hobbies. What is your role in listening music? What is your role in watching television? What is your role? All role is passive. So somewhere your hobbies should be, active hobbies should be given priority and they should be prioritized. And you should mention the hobby where action is involved. Like even your hobby can be photography, your hobby can be digital designing, your hobby can be creative hobby, can be painting. So that way those hobbies should come on the top. And watching television and passive hobbies should be rather, if you are mentioning, you should mention it at the last, or even better don't mention. Clear? Sometimes you need to know, like one student in IIT Kharagpur, he was asked a question that what are your hobbies during his interview, and he responded, my hobby is Formula 1 car race. Then second question was asked, what is Formula 1? He explained it very beautifully and he got one of the best packages of the year from IIT Kharagpur. So that way you are also advised to maintain some hobbies where action is involved, where your participation is involved, and where you are able to bring some output. Playing cricket, it can be better hobby than watching cricket. Playing cricket can be a better hobby than watching cricket. Singing song can be better hobby than listening music. So you need to maintain that. And later on, hobbies and interests, you should mention your sports participations as well. Because sports indirectly teaches you so many things about human behavior, about friendship, about team spirit, about leadership, about you can, while playing, you learn planning also, strategic planning, how to plan to win, and how to have a sports person spirit. Sports personship is one thing that makes you happy and jovial throughout your life. If you are real sports person, you will not tense about losing anything. You will not be tensed about, not be over happy after receiving anything, achieving anything. Every time you will be having a balanced approach and sports person approach. Life is a game and you will lose, you will win, but you should not be discouraged enough. So that a lot many things, you can say a lot many knowledge and experience that you can learn from your sports ground. And then later on, there begins the back matter of resume preparation. And when it comes to back matter, we should talk about the information that is to be supplied there as the part of back matter. And back matter requires personal details. Personal information. And what type of personal information you are supposed to offer. Personal information, your father name, your mother name, your date of birth, your nationality, and father name, mother's name, and nationality, and DOB, and then there comes after date of birth, your passport number, and then if you are having valid visa to US, if you are applying for that job, and then there comes reference permanent address, and even references. Whom should you refer? This is one thing I would like to talk to you very seriously. Whom should you refer and whom should you ignore? Many a times we don't know that whom should we give as a reference, and I would like to tell you here, the reference should be made of a person who knows about your professional expertise, who is well aware about your competence, who is knowing you, and who can tell that how good are you at your work. That part should be taken care of. And if you are not doing that, your references can turn otherwise. You need to know your relatives, or even it can be your good references can be your summer training project supervisors in the industry under whom you work. They will really tell that how laborious are you, how expert are you, how good are you at the problem solving, how good are you at the team spirit, and all that, so that the references must tell good about, positive about you. In case they are giving wrong, so they will think that you yourself are not aware about your behavior, your social environment, your gatherings. The person you are telling that this man is my reference, this person is my reference, and that person is telling wrong about you, means
mention. Should we mention expected salary, sir?
In case the job is not having any defined salary pattern, the organization is not having any defined salary pattern, otherwise it is wise to mention salary expected as per norms. It's better in government organization there is a defined salary. So, and in case you are having some experience, some expertise, and you feel that in that organization salary slabs are different, it varies from person to person or from based on the expertise of them, then you must mention your expected salary. Otherwise, it is wise to put as per norms. And if it is requirement of the industry, then you must mention. Thank you.